Here we go. Hi. Hi, you guys. It's Wednesday. It's Warrior Wednesday. I hope my connection is working because I am in Philadelphia. Oh, there we go. I see some people. Hello there. Welcome. Come on in. How you guys doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy Warrior Wednesday. I am coming to you from Pennsylvania. I'm visiting Mama Stu. Mom? Yes. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Are you upstairs? Yes. Are you watching Warrior Wednesday? Yes. Okay. I don't know if you guys could hear that where she said, hey, oh, I saw you say, hey, boomerang on there. Hi, Black Women in Fertility. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Warrior Wednesday. I'm so excited to have the most amazing, beautiful, inspirational woman. I have not personally met her yet, although she is a friend in my head. She's going to be my friend for the rest of her life, whether she knows it or not. Bruce Biggs, I love you too, bro. I see you. And her name is Regina Townsend, phenomenally autistic. What's up? I see all you guys waving. Yanni, love you. And Regina Townsend, she is the founder of an amazing blog site called The Broken Brown Egg. And she is a mother. She has gone through IVF to have her beautiful son, Judah. She also experienced PCOS. She experienced blocked fallopian tubes, all these things that we're going to talk about. But before we get into that and before I bring her on, I just want to read you something on the Broken Brown Egg page so that you guys understand what today is going to be about. It's going to be about some sisterhood, some black love. All love is welcome. There's going to be some black love here. Okay, here we go. Infertility doesn't see color. True. However, my color influences how I experience it. From imagery or marketing to the messaging from culture and society, all the way to the advocates and activists who carry its banner. In this often isolating and emotionally draining journey, it can be a much needed encouragement to see someone who reflects you. I'm Regina, and I work to help provide that reflection. That is Regina Townsend. And another thing that she said that I absolutely love is, you guys listen to this, infertility is lonely enough without feeling like a minority inside of a minority. Not only do I wish I wrote that line, but I'm going to bring her on here so we can talk about exactly what that is. Because you guys, I need you to put eggs up. I need you to put hearts up. I need you to put all kinds of... Regina Townsend, when she comes on here to join us, the founder of The Broken Brown Egg, the lady herself, the advocate. Hey!
Hey!
How are you? Welcome.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited to meet you officially, even though we've been chatting it up and we've been sister girlfriends for a while in my head, just FYI.
Yeah, it just is what it is. It is what it is at this point. It's just who we are.
It's just who we are. It's just who we are. Welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me. I was so excited because I saw you at the Resolve Night of Hope and I was like, she get it. She gets it. You're friends now.
I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get it, girl. Well, everybody's giving you some eggs and stuff. And what's so great about this forum is that we just like keep it real. We just have some fun, which I know you are all about. And to what I just said about your quote, and I'm going to read it again because I want to talk to you a little bit about that before we get into your personal story about being a Black woman in this world, and specifically being a Black woman that has a platform in the world that's created the Broken Brown Egg that other women are going to for encouragement. The quote that you said, infertility is lonely enough without feeling like a minority inside of a minority, just touched me in so many places. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you, how that came about, and your journey as a Black woman in the world of infertility?
Yeah, so the thing with the feeling like a minority inside of a minority, when I started the Broken Brown Egg, I was a part of an online community called Chocolate Brides, founded by Keisha Monk. She's a DJ and a voiceover talent. And she started chocolate brides because there was no imagery of Black women in the wedding industry. We weren't on the cover of bridal magazines. We weren't in any of the wedding movies. You didn't see us. So here I am in this big forum, pre-Facebook, let me date myself, where we were talking about how, you know, you go to some other wedding websites and you're like, dang, am I supposed to be here? I'm the only one that looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
So now here I am in this smaller subgroup. And now when we're talking about infertility, we're an even smaller subgroup in the subgroup.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got so angry at the feeling that I didn't cause this. You didn't cause this. We shouldn't feel like, on top of all the other weight of being a Black woman and dealing with all of these other stereotypes and things, now on top of that, I'm supposed to feel guilty about something that I didn't even cause, didn't know about, nobody told me about.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
Right, right. And so you started, so tell me, because you probably get this question a lot in interviews, because I do as well, about when we're talking about infertility in general, and then it goes over to, so what's it like for Black women, and how does it feel for you to be a Black woman on this platform? And what's interesting for my story, and those that know it out there, I froze my egg, so I had the egg retrieval. So I went through the first steps of IVF without the actual implantation of an embryo. And I didn't choose, like you said, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this path. I didn't choose this way to go about having a child. This is something that happened, and I took the steps that I needed to take because I want to be a mother. But the actual talking about it, it happened to me because when I called the embryologist, they said to me, you're not the only woman that calls here panicking. And there was something about knowing that I am amongst women that are panicking about their fertility that made me mad, to your point. And so I did what I could in my community, but now I'm here. Talk to me about specifically your mission with the broken brown egg, that it is for women, but it is specifically geared to the African-American experience. So talk to me about the conception of that and how you came about.
Yeah, so I was looking for, like I said, I was on Chocolate Brides, and there were a couple of women who said, because we would stick around there, like I said, this was before Facebook. So we were looking for community. And we would stay after we got married, and we'd have journals, and then some people would talk about their pregnancy journal, and then there were a couple who talked about infertility, and I was like, wow, I hope that works out for them. I'm really sorry to hear that. Thinking still, that's very rare for Black people, because I didn't know. And meanwhile, I was having periods that lasted upwards of 30 days, upwards of 40 days, upwards of 50 days. I was sitting in the emergency room wondering why my period wouldn't stop, not connecting the dots that there was something wrong, and not just what the doctors were telling me, which was, well, lose weight, and here's some birth control pills. And, maybe if you eat, nobody was actually saying, or they were telling me it was my thyroid. So once I started looking into all of that and realizing there's something actually going on here, and then I started to look for information, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. And I was so frustrated because while there were plenty of blogs, none of them looked like me. And when you don't see yourself, you start to feel like, do I belong here? Am I even worse off than I thought? Because I don't see anybody that reflects what I'm dealing with, or the stereotype that IVF was so out of reach and out of touch for Black women because one, didn't need it, but two, we couldn't afford it. So all of those things, and I got so angry by not finding anybody that looked like me that I was like, I'm just going to talk about it because somebody got to talk.
Amen.
And I hate feeling stifled. Like my mom will tell you, I was the MC at my kindergarten graduation. That's how much I love to talk. So when I feel like I can't say what I want to say, I get so upset. And I was so stifled and felt like, why can't I say what I want to say without feeling like I'm going to be embarrassed or ashamed or that this is my fault? And one day I just went on Facebook and I just started writing, you know, that auntie who always had the sleepovers and always took you out of Great America and all of that? Maybe she couldn't have kids. Or I started to say, stop asking people when they're going to get pregnant. That's none of your, like, I just started to say it because I needed to get it out. And then I started getting these messages from people that were like, thank you. I wanted to say that and I couldn't say it. I didn't know how to say it. And I told my husband at that time, we were about to reach our 5th anniversary. And I told him, I want to do something that is for other people that are dealing with this. So I started writing, and I told my husband I wanted to do an event. And so I started blogging, and I started just saying what was happening to me. Because the other thing that I would find was that the blogs were always about after. We did this, and now here's our happy ending. And I was feeling like, but where's the person that's going to say, right now, this sucks? And this is off, and this isn't working, and this is what the doctor said to me, and I don't know what to say. Where's that person? And I was like, well, then I'm going to have to be that person.
I love it. Yes, be that person. Somebody has to say it because
the blog and keep pushing it.
I love it because that's the thing with suffering in silence, right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
A little bit.
You guys froze for a second. A little bit. Is it a little weird?
Okay, you're back.
Am I back? Okay. That's the thing with suffering in silence, right? Is that, you know, and especially in the African American community, is that there's so many myths that Black women are fertile, that there's nothing to worry about, you know, that you're going to be fine when it's your time, all of those things. And we are not really educated about pre-existing conditions like fibroids, like endometriosis, like PCOS, all the things that we get sometimes even 2 times more likely to have than white women. So when we see white women in the infertility space and we don't see ourselves talking in the infertility space, we really feel isolated when we're going through a moment because we think we're the only brown girl that has this issue. So I just want to say thank you to you for being a pioneer of such work, especially when you were going through it on your own, because and with your husband, because it's so brave for you to get transparent that way right within the community while you're going through it, because more of us need to be talking like this so that we know we are not alone. And it's more normal that somebody might have an issue, whether it's a woman or whether it's male factor infertility, than abnormal. And we don't really express that. So let's go into your personal story to your baby boy. So periods were lasting 30 plus days. Now that could be fibroids. That could be a number of things. Now you guys, Regina and I are not medical experts. We are not doctors. We are not scientists. We are women that have been through what we've been through, and we speak from our perspective. So what was the scoop on that girl? So 30 days with a period, what happened?
Driving me nuts, driving me insane, and then going to work, and you're expected to be at work and be, you know, and then in most of those spaces, you're the only Black person there too. So now you can't look tired, you can't fall behind, you can't do any of those things because then you're the Black person that's lazy. But you also can't talk about this because there's a stigma. So you're just kind of stuck. And I would spend nights in the ER. I would sit in waiting rooms, and I would go through these fluctuations of not having insurance. So I would be at the county, and I would sit there for hours. I've had experiences where I've sat or been placed in a waiting room and had to go out into the lobby to ask, did you all remember that I was still here? Because I've been here.
There go that disproportional health care again. Yeah. There it goes.
And it had gotten to the point where when I was doing the admittance, I would write menorrhagia on the paper because I was like, let's get clinical because maybe then you'll know I'm not playing with y'all. And the nurse would be like, how you know that term? And I was like, because this is how long I've been coming here for this. And it was just birth control pills and thyroid. And let's get your thyroid under control. And if we handle that, then everything will be fine. And it wasn't until I started the blog and started talking more about it that I actually was invited to lunch by a reproductive endocrinologist and his wife who were visiting Chicago. And he said, he looked at my skin and a couple other things, and he said, have you asked the doctor about PCOS? Because there are some skin things that happen with Black women that are indicators of PCOS. And that affects your weight, that can affect your periods, that can affect all of that.
Now, before we
like,
go on, let's just tell, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but before we go on, for those that are there, PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So that's what she's referring to, polycystic ovarian syndrome. That's PCOS. Okay, please continue. So he's telling you, the doctor's telling you, in Black women specifically, there are some skin issues that could be an indicator of that. I know that Kiki Palmer just came out actually with a PCOS post about some of the acne on her skin and explain that it's PCOS. So please continue so that we can learn more about that.
Yeah, and so he told me to check with my doctor. I had just got new insurance, got a new doctor. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get an answer. And I went and I told her I thought it was PCOS, and she laughed. And she was like, you know, everybody's got Google these days, and they think they know. It's not that, because you don't have any cysts on your ovaries. And at this point, I had been in the game for a little while, and I was so flabbergasted in the moment that I didn't know what to say. But when I got home, I was so angry and felt dismissed. And when I called to make a follow-up appointment, she wasn't available. And I first was going to respond to her, but then I said, is anybody else available? And there was a different doctor available. And when I went to see her, I kind of did it as a test almost. I asked her, I think it's PCOS. And she said, I think you're right. And if that's what you think, let's look into it, because PCOS is a syndrome. Everyone doesn't have cysts. Everyone doesn't present the same. And the fact that she listened to me and that she was willing to educate me while working with me, that changed everything.
Okay,
let's
pause right there, because what you're saying is so important, Regina, is being an advocate for your own health, doing your own research, trusting your gut, and finding a doctor that speaks into your listening. So the reason that I paused you is because for some reason, sometimes when we go to a doctor and they say, no, it's not that, we take their word for it, even when we're done. Even when we think or feel, I just feel like there's something else. And what we tend to do is let someone tell us about our body, but we are living in our body.
From birth, literally.
From birth. So we know.
With all the eggs I'm ever going to have, me and these eggs been hanging out this whole time, and you going to tell me what me and my eggs are doing.
Do y'all see why I have Regina here? Put the eggs in the chat.
I listen to you. But the thing about it that I had to realize, which is why the Broken Brown Egg has been a blessing for me. You know, when people say that what I say resonates with them, I'm like, as I minister to you, I minister to myself. These are things that I needed to hear and needed to get out. And one of the things that I have learned along this is that my healthcare team is a team, and it's about care. They need to care about me, and I need to feel cared for, and we're a team. You're not the coach. We on the team together. I'm running the plays. You need to tell me what's going on, because you need to trust that I'm an intelligent enough patient that I know what's best for me, just like I'm trusting that you're a good enough doctor that you know what may work for me. And I need to make sure that what you're suggesting to me is about me, not what you give to every Black girl that comes in here. Every Black girl that comes in here is not the same. You're not a monolith. When I come in here,
you better
I need to know that what you're saying is, I'm looking at your chart. I'm listening to what you care about. I'm looking at what path you want to take, and we're going to work towards that. This is what I want to do.
I'm in your face, Regina. I am in your face, because you are preaching to the choir, and so many women and men need to know that spirit that you had, this is my team, I'm calling the plays. If I don't feel like this is right, this is my body. I've been living with these eggs all my life, the only ones I'm ever going to have. Thank you for gifting us with that message and with your spirit, because y'all, if y'all don't get anything else from this talk, and you will get so much more from this talk, please know to be your own health advocate, to trust your gut, to find people that speak into your listening, whether that's friends, families, and definitely your physicians, and to know that you have a right You have a right to continue to ask questions until you get the answers that you seek. So I love everything that you said.
In the room with you,
yes.
They are with you.
Yes.
We have, especially as Black people, we have a tendency, first of all, we have very valid mistrust of the medical industry and community.
Very
we
valid.
Just do.
Very valid.
There are very valid reasons why we do not like going to the doctor, why we do not trust going to the doctor. And when we do go, we listen and we get out. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be here anyway. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I'm going to get this prescription. Mm-hmm. But we have to recognize that we have the right to ask questions, to get answers, and that when they're in the room with you, that's your time. You don't have to feel like, oh, well, you know, I don't want to slow you down. Go ahead. There's other people in the waiting. That's not my business. Mm-hmm. My body is my business. Okay. So while you're in this room, here's my list of questions. And if you don't answer them, I will call you back when I get home. And I would like to speak to you and not just a nurse. Thank you and have a good day. Like all of those things, we have to learn that that is a part of your power. Yes. You have the right to ask questions. And if you don't like the answer, you can question that answer. Mm-hmm. Or you can say, you know, let me keep it pushing. Obviously, me and you ain't a good match.
Right, right. I could get another teammate, but this one, you're slowing the team down. Exactly.
Yeah, we're trying to get somewhere. Yes. You're telling me to wait a year, and I'm telling you I've been in this for 5 already. Right. You're telling me that I need to try this when I'm telling you my body doesn't respond to that. Right. Why am I listening to you? I gave you $40 for this appointment.
Come on, somebody. It's a beautiful thing when you gift yourself the knowledge of knowing that you can trust your own mind. Trust your first mind. You can trust your own mind as to whether or not a physician or a teammate is good for you. So y'all throw your hands up, throw the eggs in the chat. If you have questions for Regina, go ahead and put it in the chat, but let's continue. So you found out that it was PCOS.
Mm-hmm. And so we tried metformin, which is technically a diabetes drug. It helps with insulin resistance, and things still weren't happening. And so she suggested that we do an HSG test, which is I always pronounce it wrong, a hysterosalpingogram, I think. Mm-hmm. Y'all look it up. Do your Google. And it is where they push dye through the uterus to see if there are any blockages. Mm-hmm. And so when we did that test, we found that both of my tubes were blocked.
Okay, so her fallopian tubes, y'all, for those that don't know in the chat, that is the organ that connects your ovaries to your uterus where your eggs will get fertilized. That's the fallopian tube. So we have a test where they do inject dye so that they can see if the pathway is clear. And so you had both tubes, because we have two, and both tubes were blocked. And usually, and you know, a lot of women go through this, and just so you guys know, there's different causes as to why fallopian tubes can be blocked, but continue. So you have both tubes blocked. Okay.
Yes, and a further testament to choosing a good teammate is that when she was pushing the dye, she came to the foot of the bed and she said, Regina, you did everything you could do. You went as far as you could go. I know you don't want to do IVF, but that's the route that I think is going to be best, and we're going to move on from this. But you didn't know that you did everything you could do. Oh. And that meant so much to me in the moment, because that's really where my feelings were right there, was I'm broken. Mm-hmm. My body doesn't work, and I didn't even know how I broke it. I have this really expensive piece of machinery, and I crashed it, and I don't know when and where I crashed it. Mm-hmm. And so for someone to tell me, this isn't your fault, you didn't do this, and you can work around it, and we're going to keep moving, that was the most important thing that I could have at that moment. And so she gave me a referral, and I went to one of the fertility centers here. And then they started laying everything out. And we found out that it was not just my tubes. It was also my husband had some issues as well. And then they started laying out the cost. And the stress and strain, like I saw my husband, Jabari, I saw his demeanor just in the seat, just kind of like, you know, I saw him kind of go, well, damn, this is more than I thought. Not, we're not going to do it, but just, this is going to be harder than I thought. And we got prepared to move forward. And then I got an email from my job, and they said that they were changing insurance and my fertility center was no longer covered. And I was like, well, now what do I do? And in the meantime, we got a call from a relative who said that she was pregnant and didn't think she'd be able to parent, and she wanted to know if we'd be willing to step in. And we prayed about it, and in our mind, we try to do God's math. So we were like, well, maybe this didn't work because we're supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stepped in. We said, okay, well, we'll adopt. And so we got prepared to adopt. We rode through that process. And then the day that we went to pick up the baby, she had a change of heart. And we were like, okay, well, now what?
Now pause
And,
there pause for a second. And the reason I wanted you to pause is because, we all have stories to tell, mountains to climb. And sometimes we get to our almost. I have this thing where sometimes my life feels like a perpetual state of almost. I'm almost a wife. I'm almost a mother. I'm almost going to adopt the baby. And so because the people that are here live with us now and those that will watch it on the replay, I don't want to skip past what that felt like for you to have prayed on something with your husband, for y'all together and with God to have decided, yes, we will adopt this baby. And then at literally the last moment, there was a change of mind. How was that emotionally for you as a woman that wants to be a mother, for your husband that wants to be a father, and for you two as a unit, as a couple, praying on this child? What was the emotion in there?
It was one of those moments where, how on a movie when there's an explosion and so there's no sound and everybody's moving in slow motion? That's what it felt like, because we were sitting in the parking lot of Jackson Park Hospital with a car seat in the car, with clothes in the car, with a bag, with space set up in our home. And we had been there when she was born. We had been there for those 2 days and had been reaffirmed that everything is fine and sure. And this relative was telling the nurse, well, she's not going home with me, she's going with them. And just all of that. And for it to change. And even just the way that it was done. It was a call with a social worker. So you didn't even call us yourself. It was the social worker called us. Mm-hmm. And we just felt stunned in the moment, because it was like, well, what did we do wrong? What did we, because once again, here's the guilt. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. What am I doing wrong? Am I praying wrong? Because I prayed on this and I felt like what we said to do. Yes. So why isn't that working either? And we just kind of sat there. And then now you have also the additional guilt, because now this is my husband's relative. So now my family has created tension for my partner. My family has created this, and I brought this. It's all of these, I did this to this person that I care about. And we just kind of sat there for a while, and then we just went home and we didn't really know what to do. We just kind of sat there. And then we got a call from DCFS, which is the Chicago Department of Children and Family Services. And they said, we can't send the baby home with the mother, but we will need a foster family. Would you be willing to step in as foster parents? And we sat there and we were like, I don't know whether to say yes or no to this. But again, I thought, if the Lord has told me that I'm supposed to be in this baby's life, I can't say no to that. I also can't leave a child in need at a hospital. And I can't allow DCFS to place this child with someone where the family may never get them back. I'm going to pray on it and I'm going to move anyway, because it's not about me. It's about this child. And so we went back and we picked her up and we fostered her for 6 months. And in my mind, I thought, maybe the birth mother will see that we're doing a good job. Maybe she'll see that we're taking care of. Maybe she'll see that we're doing something right. Maybe and I couldn't see it at the moment, but that was not the point. The point that God had was, this child needs a stable and consistent beginning. And that's the role. Sometimes I would get so frustrated, but I would have to remind myself, just because God put me in the play, I'm not the star. I might be a supporting actress for this part of the play. And it hurt, but I'm not, the play isn't about me. It's not about me. And so I can be hurt, but I can be proud that what I've placed into this young person will rise up when they need it, and that this experience will give me strength when I need it, because I don't know how I'll get out of this, but I know I have to.
All right.
So we fostered her, and that was a tense situation because you have to do visitation and all of that. And then after we fostered her,
wait a minute,
and we had to,
wait a minute. I need a minute. I don't know about y'all, but I need a minute. Because, I look at things through my own lens and I look at things through God's lens. And the way that y'all took that heartache, but then took that baby in that was in need of you, because God always knew what the plan was. So
yeah, he's never been off guard.
He's never been. So he was not. So the yes that you heard about the adoption, it was a yes and.
Yes.
We just didn't know what the and was, because it was a yes and I have a child of your own, and I need you to hold this baby for me in your care, to which I trust you for these amount of months. So yes, you will be this child's mother for a period of time. And yes, you will be this child's father for a period of time that he appointed you to. And for y'all to have been in the midst of heartbreak, physically, emotionally, and still say yes and obey God in that moment is nothing short of miraculous right there. So I just got to give it to you. It's talking to you is a gift. And so I would not be doing my job to not pause and take in the amazingness that is you and your husband for what you have done, because what you are showing us, I'm not a parent yet. I still want to be a mom. And so what you are gifting me just by sharing that story is the many ways by which it can happen. Even if it happened for 6 months, it's a blessing in that moment, because that baby needed you and you needed her for that time. So God bless y'all, and God bless her wherever she is in this world. But that's a beautiful moment. Okay. I'm crying on Wednesday, but that's normal. So it's good tears, because you know what? We don't get a job that God doesn't give us the tools to do.
No.
He built
and nothing
you for
you
it.
do for children is ever wasted. And I try to give myself the grace of being angry. I try to give myself the grace of also enjoying the moments with her that we had, and being proud of the fact that when she went to those visitations, she was dressed to the T. She was learning. We were reading to her. There was nothing you could say that was in any way going to look as though we were going to treat that child any differently than we would have had we adopted her. And that was more for us showing who we were, because infertility in itself makes you question who you are. Mm-hmm. This is what I thought I was good at. This is, especially if you're a person who's successful in other things, you think, well, I'm going to knock this out. This is nothing. Right. And then infertility be like, no, you're not in charge. Yes. That's cute that you think you're in charge, but you're not. Wow. And so for us, we had so many moments of who am I anymore? And what am I? And who are we? And what do we want to be? And what even is this? Right. Because also when you're doing those visits, I couldn't go. I couldn't sit in that room and I didn't know who I could be in that room. Right. So the stress of him having to take this child to these visitations with this relative, sit there and deal with that, the strain that was putting on us as a couple was only fortified by God saying, but I have something else for you. I have something else for you. And we were so trying to do the right thing while also kind of holding each other up. And this is not to say that those things were perfect. There were a lot of things. Like even when we had to turn her back over that next day, I wanted to spend time together. He needed to be apart. And I remember feeling so abandoned in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, again, we had to learn that this thing has been a level of grief from the minute we realized what it was.
Ooh.
And so we've had to teach ourselves about grieving, about how to allow the other person to grieve, about how to respect what you need and communicate what you need. And we then went into this phase of, I felt like, okay, well, this what I'm finna do. Because, and I had to come to this place with God of like, I'm listening to you, but I'm mad at you.
Okay.
And I'm going to start telling you I'm mad at you.
Okay. I got there this morning. I got there this morning. Yes. I'm going to let you know exactly. When I'm done with Regina, Lord, I'm going to let you know exactly what I'm pissed about. But yes.
Because the truth is, in my faith, and it doesn't have to be everybody's, but in my faith, if I believe that the Lord hears and knows all, he already knows.
He already knows.
Anyway.
He knows I'm angry. He knows.
He already knows.
Yeah.
And in many cases, he's waiting for me to tell him so that he can show me I'm the only one that can fix what you're mad about anyway. So I had to get to a point where I was like, okay, look, I'm real upset. And then he started to show me where there were pieces. And where there were things that I had already set up by being obedient in the first place, by starting the blog in the first place, by taking infertility as a conversation to a larger realm.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a librarian, which is what I am professionally, I was doing Infertility Awareness Week at the library because I felt like we're about education. It's a library. We should be educating people about this. And so I would have these panels, and I invited Reverend Gunn, who's the founder of Fertility for Color Girls.
Yes.
I invited Michelle Hughes. She's an adoption attorney here. I have representatives from DCFS to talk about foster care and adoption. And I also had a reproductive endocrinologist who I met by having the broken brown egg. And when I had this event, it happened to be just after we had turned the child back over. And the reproductive endocrinologist was there, and she said, Regina, how's things going with you? Because I remember last time I was here, you were going to this other fertility clinic. Did you have a baby? What happened? And I was like, nothing. Nothing is happening with me. And I told her everything that had happened that year and how my insurance had changed, and she was like, come see me. Because
wow.
I'm from your insurance, because you need to get over you talk about being just like right at the precipice all the time. She was like, you need to get over it. Come see me because we got to get you over this hump. And I thought, I didn't expect that. And I went home and I told my husband, and I said, she wants us to come see her and she'll take our insurance. And he was like, okay, let's go. And when we went, she went over the same chart, the same test, the same everything the other fertility center did, but she had such oh, this is fine. Oh, we'll fix this. Oh, no, we'll get around that. Oh, this is what IVF does. This is why we don't even have to worry about that. And you know what? We'll do this. Let's go do the baseline testing across the hall right now so that we can get you started. And we're just going to call the insurance today. And everything started to move instantaneously.
Woo!
It went from talking to her to having an appointment within a month to when the next time I went, and I'm thinking they're about to talk to me about what's the next, because it's a lot of hurry up and wait. Infertility is a lot of hurry up and wait. You start doing stuff, and then we got to wait another 6 months. We got to wait. And I was expecting another one of those hurry up and wait moments. Right. And the nurse was like, yeah, so we ordered your medication, and it should be, and I was like, wait, the what?
Right.
What? And I was thinking, and then again, me working in my head again, I was like, oh, shoot. We had been doing fundraisers, not fundraisers, but fundraisers. So we did a paint and sip. I sold T-shirts. We were trying to raise enough money to have the money for the medication. We applied for the K Foundation grant. We were trying to get ready.
Right.
And I called because I was like, I'm not going to have enough money for the medication, and that's what's going to slow it up. Something's going to slow it up again. And I called, and the guy was like, oh, so yeah, your total is $4.34 or something like that. And I was like,
Jesus.
U.S. dollars? Like U.S. dollars? You mean under $5? You mean less?
Yes.
And it was just everything moved from that moment. And without a hitch, even when she did the baseline, she was like, I see a small polyp, because I had polyps, I had all kinds of fibroid things and things like that. And she was like, we'll just schedule a surgery. We'll just remove that. We'll get that out. It was so positive and inspiring and hopeful. And just every person that worked in her clinic had experienced infertility. Wow. So every single person that I talked to had this same level of, oh girl, we're gonna fix this. Oh girl, we're gonna do this.
They could relate. They could be there, and they could speak into your listening. And the Bible says He will give you an immediate. He will restore the years that the locust ate up. And so in that immediacy, God showed up like, oh, you showed up for me over here. Watch what I can do over here. So this is a blessing. Y'all give her prayer hands. I mean, they're going through. God is getting all the praise. He works all things out for your good. God's timing, not ours. That's truly God's speed. I mean, the favor still pressing forward in faith. We are all loving it. Y'all put some prayer hands up and keep those comments coming. Okay, so the medication is $4.18. Then what?
Girl, $4. And then we went to looking on YouTube to figure out how to do those shots, because I was like, we're here now. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And we pushed through IVF in 2015. And in 2016, exactly 7 years to the day that I started the Broken Brown Egg, I had Judah.
And 7 is the number of completion.
You see what I'm saying? Do you see? And here's the irony with all of it. Woo! When I started the Broken Brown Egg, I didn't feel comfortable proclaiming my faith as a part of it, because I felt like there are some days when I'm gonna cuss. Mm-hmm. And I don't want y'all being like, well, yesterday you said that the Lord was going to. Listen, right. There was cussing in the Bible. Right. Don't start with me. Right. To get this out. And the thing that was so crazy to me was, as much as I resisted making that a tenet of the Broken Brown Egg, because I didn't want to ostracize anyone whose faith was different either. Mm-hmm. But God has been in the midst of the entire thing. Every time I question, he'd be like, girl, what'd I tell you last week? Shut up. This is what we doing. And it was just such for that, when I was in the hospital, and it hadn't even occurred to me until I got the Facebook memories, and it was like, oh, on this day, 7 years ago. And I thought, oh, Lord, you play too much.
Yeah, but that number 7, that number 7.
You play too much. And that's what I posted for that day. I posted 7 years to the day that I started this journey as a blogger and an advocate and an activist in this. This is Judah Emmanuel, and his name means praise God with us. Because look at what God has done. Look at what God has given us. And now when he spends his weekends, because during COVID, on the weekends, Judah don't have time for us. So he goes to his Nana.
Right, he got to do. Right.
He'd be like, look, girl, enjoy your weekend. I'm going to see Nana.
Right.
And when he goes to Nana's house, the cousin that's there playing with him is that baby.
Wait, Regina, wait a minute. Wait, let me leave. Hold on. Did y'all catch what she just threw? So wait a second. When he goes to Nana's house to play, one of the babies that he plays with is the baby that you fostered and was going to adopt. The baby that you fostered for 6 months is now playing with your child that God gave you.
Love each other. Hugged up. She picks him up. They sit together. Is she going to be there? And is he going to be there? And are we going to have a sleep? It's a whole thing. Best buddies. And I try to get my feelings about it, and then I just kind of step out. I just have to step out, because who she is, the caring and kindness, people's journey is their journey. And every part of that little girl's life has not been loving and kind and pleasant. But when I see how she is with him, there's a part of me that feels like because she got that foundation of love and kindness and support and being held and nurtured, she's now able to give it to somebody else. And she wouldn't have had that
if she didn't.
And it warms my heart. And it makes me feel like all of that time of feeling forgotten by God, feeling like God was angry with me, feeling like God was tired of me, and that I was disposable, dispensable, and replaceable was all false. That was all false. Because I had convinced myself after that adoption fell through. When I went to God, I was so angry, and I told him, and I said, maybe I'm just supposed to be the aunt and the godparent. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is that what you want me to be? I'm just supposed to help everybody else, and it's not supposed to help me. And I was so angry. And now that I can, because you can't see the whole board. I think of it like being a chess piece. You're looking at what moves you can make, but you can't see the whole board. Now I can see the board. I can see where I was on the board, and I feel just, there's a sense of like, you loved me enough to give me the strength to do that. You gave me the strength to do that. You think that much about me? I don't think that much about me half the time.
Let me tell
But you think that much about me that you was like, when I need to give this assignment, who can I give this assignment to that's going to do it the way I want to? Regina, she could do it. Jabari, he could do it. Like that blows my mind, because in the moment you don't feel like that. In the moment you feel like my body is broken. Nobody told me this. I did what y'all told me to do. I went to college. I got married at 23. I did everything that you said that the good Black girl is supposed to do. I got the job. I work with kids. I'm kind. I'm this, I'm that. And nobody in the middle of that said, but that doesn't mean everything's going to work out the way you want it to.
Right.
Nobody
said that.
Nobody said that. So now I'm like, well, what do I do? Because what did I do wrong? Or why is God angry with me? Or who am I? You start to question yourself. Like, maybe I'm not as good a person as I thought I was. Maybe I didn't do that right. Maybe I shouldn't. And you're just frustrated and grieving all the time. You're grieving as you grieve. During this time, I lost relatives. I've lost people, and I would feel like my grandfather was getting old. I kept feeling like my grandfather's going to die. He's never going to see me with kids. Like, those kind of things kept hitting me. And then you get up and go to work, and people want you to be normal and act right. And then you look at the news and things are happening to Black people, and you think, do I have the right to bring a child here where they don't even care about it? You start to question all of those things.
Let me tell you something. Listen, everybody, I know everybody that's watching right now is not well in terms of we crying, okay? I'm supposed to host, and I'm supposed to say a certain amount of, composure, but I can't. Because what y'all don't know is that when I text Regina before we got on, I was like, are you good? Do you need anything? She said, no, I just want somebody to be blessed. So I said, amen. You are blessing me, because what you are describing in terms of I did everything right, and I've done all these things and it's not happening yet, or, why is it going like this, is how I feel in the moment right now. I did not choose this platform. It chose me. Yep. I did not choose to have to go freeze my eggs. It was something that was my only option at the time. And now I'm here, and I speak to women, and I love it. And I speak to men, and I love it. And I know God has put this purpose in me the same way he did with the broken brown egg with you in that 7-year journey before you actually met your son. But there are days where I don't know what to say to y'all, because I'm upset, I'm mad, I'm frustrated, and I feel like it'll never happen for me. And I have to go online every Wednesday and say, Warrior Wednesday, here I come. But on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, I don't feel like it because I don't have happy news to share yet again. And I get up and I do it every Wednesday because of women like you. I don't do it because I feel like I am saying something to y'all that's going to change your life. It's because y'all are saying things to me that changes mine. And I just want to thank you, Regina, because what you just expressed is the reality of what it feels like to be in the journey. And when people interview me, different websites or television about, so what are you going to do with your eggs? And how do you stay so positive? And, you know, I say, I don't stay so positive. And some days I got to be honest and say, I don't feel like doing this. Some days I got to say, I don't think God is ever going to do it for me. I think those eggs are going to stay in that freezer for the next 10 years and 10 years and 10 years after that. They may never get you. Like some days I don't see the vision. I don't see the board. Like you said, I don't see the board. I just see the piece that I am on. And so I just want to extend my gratitude to you for being so transparent about the ups and downs of this, and that through it all, because, and just like me, I ain't going nowhere. I'm built to be a mom. I don't know how I'm going to get there, what, if it's an adoption, if it's, you know, foster, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know he put me here for a reason. And I just want to say thank you for sharing it the way you're sharing it, because you're not polishing any of it. And I needed to know that it's okay that some days, y'all, even though I'm here on Wednesday every day, that this particular live is for me. Y'all just reaping the overflow. But this cup you poured, Regina, this is for me. So thank you for that. So you blessed me, girl. You the thing that you wrote in, I just want somebody to be blessed. It happened. It happened. And I know Mama Stu, you up there crying. I don't know if y'all heard her. She said, yeah. She said, yeah. But okay, so let's get back. So we have baby Judah, and he's over there. Now tell me what the name, his name means again.
Judah Emmanuel. Praise God with us.
Praise God with us. Playing with the baby that you guys fostered.
Mm-hmm. Hanging out, loving on each other, being kind. He says things that blow my mind, that remind me of all of the parts of this path that God has. Because after I had Judah, what they also don't talk about when they talk about infertility is when you've experienced infertility and IVF, or just infertility in general, you have a certain level of proclivity towards postpartum. Mm-hmm. And so I had really bad postpartum. I was so anxious. It was 2016. There was election madness. There was all kinds of stuff happening. It was Black Lives Matter, which crazy. We're still in this. Look at that.
We're still here. We're still here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was so nervous, anxious, always on edge. It was to the point where I couldn't drive. I've been driving since I was 14. Mm-hmm. And Chicago girls, we got a thing about knowing how to drive. We'd be like, look, if I don't know how to do nothing else, I can get us up out of here.
I can wheel it.
Right. And I was so anxious that I would do things like we would go over my aunt's house and I would tell my mom, well, you just keep my car and I'll just ride home with Jabari, because I didn't want to say I'm scared to drive. I can't drive on the expressway. I would go to work, and as I'm the only Black librarian and I'm the teen librarian, teens scare people. So whenever there was drama with teenagers, they would come get me. Miss Regina, can you come talk to the kids? They're in the door. Can you come talk to them? And I'm usually the one that's like unfazed by it. I'm like, y'all little suburban kids, I'm from the South Side. Let's come on. Mm-hmm. And I was to the point where I was anxious. I kept feeling like somebody's going to come in and shoot up the library. Something's going to happen. I was so on edge.
Did you know it was postpartum? Okay.
I didn't know at first.
You were in it.
I just thought, well, this is the year. Everything is chaotic this year. But it was when I got to the point where I felt like I couldn't do my job.
Okay.
And I realized that I was watching. One of the things that I didn't know was a trauma response and an anxiety coping mechanism is when you watch old things because you know what's going to happen. So you rewatch the same movie over and over again. You rewatch the same show. And I realized that I had watched The Office and Bob's Burgers at least 3 times, full run. To the point where I think the baby knew the song for Bob's Burgers. He was like, "We watching Bob?" Oh. And I was so upset that I was like, I got to go see somebody. And I went and I sat and I told the therapist hadn't even started talking yet, and I was in tears. I was sitting there and I said, I'm a basket case. I can't do my job. I can't drive. I'm scared all the time. And she was like, number one, you're not a basket case. Number two, this is normal. I thought postpartum was when you first have the baby.
Right.
Come to find out, postpartum is from birth through 3 years old. So I'm thinking, well, I had him already. And you also, after dealing with infertility, you feel like I can't say that I'm not having the best time ever.
Right, because I went through all of this. So who could I be to say I'm upset? Right.
And then in my bag where I was thinking, where I was completely ignoring the scripture that says, therefore there is no condemnation. I was in full, well, this is because I pushed God's hand. If God wanted me to have kids, he would have let me have kids. And if I hadn't done IVF, I was going from 0 to 60.
Ooh, you went there. You went all the way there.
I was going.
Yeah.
And she was like, number one, you're not a basket case. Number two, this is normal.
Right.
And number three, let's talk about it. It's not, there's nothing wrong with you for needing to come and talk to somebody. It doesn't take away your right to be his mom, because I was feeling like that. Like I gave him a broken mother. I did something wrong. And then I started to look at that and I got angry again because I realized that while we're talking about health, we're leaving out this whole part. Reproductive health is health. Mental health is health. It's health.
Honey, I was at my therapist this morning. Yes.
If somebody has cancer, you're not going to tell them, well, relax. Well, why don't you wait? Well, why don't you pray more and it'll go away? No, you're going to tell them, go to the doctor.
Right. We got to see about this. Get some help. There are steps and things we have to do. So you went into the mental health part of this, because that is on, y'all. If you haven't visited thebrokenbrownegg.com, you need to. Regina has a portion of it devoted to mental health. And it's so important because throughout life in general, I have my therapy session this morning on Skype. I don't play with my mental health. I got to keep it together. That's why I allow myself to tell y'all the truth, because I'm healthy enough to know I can survive my truth. You know what I mean? And so, but talk to us more about the mental health aspect as it relates to the blog, and why you felt the need to say, wait a minute, we got to talk about this for real.
Yeah, because it was leaving out, once again, part of the conversation. It has to be a balanced conversation where we're explaining and expressing that, number one, Black women and men are impacted 2 times more than other people, and that this is bigger than babies. We are doing a disservice to everyone when we only talk about the baby, because somebody can do IVF and not get the baby. You can do all of this stuff and still not have the baby, but who will you be at the end of it if you let this thing run you ragged? And if we continue to perpetuate those myths and stereotypes, we're a part of the problem. And we're helping people into their panic. We're helping people into their sadness and isolation. So what I feel my job is to advocate, is to say, nope, going to therapy Tuesday. I put it right on Facebook a lot. I'll be like, y'all got a therapist yet? Just because we have to normalize the conversation. We should not be so comfortable talking about things that are frivolous and inconsequential, and then sitting in a corner silent, thinking about the things that we should be talking about. That's stupid. And that is not how you encourage and build a community. And right now, while we're trying to build, especially the Black community, we need to include the fact that we can't do that and be in tatters. I can't be the strong Black woman while my anxiety is getting the best of me. That ain't how it works. I have to have a team, and that team includes my mental health professional. It includes my family that I feel I can talk to. It includes me talking to my 13-year-old niece. It includes me talking to my 16-year-old goddaughter and saying, your period shouldn't look, that's not how that's supposed to go.
That's not how it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to feel that way. That's right.
Yeah, you're missing school for that? No. Let's go talk.
Something's wrong. Right.
If you feel like you're dieting and that's not working, then maybe the diet is not the issue. Let's talk about PCOS. Let's talk about this.
Ooh.
Let's talk about that. If you're upset and angry, let's talk about your mental health, because depression also looks like I'm irritated. Depression also looks like I'm
tired.
Also looks like I'm eating everything in the house. Depression doesn't just look like people think it does.
Right.
I go to work a lot, and I'm the put on the positive person, unless this is what we need to do. And I'm in the car at lunch going, Lord, if you could see your way to keep me from losing my mind.
Yes.
I would really appreciate it. But we don't talk about these things. And I've had to really learn to self-advocate, whereas now when I call my job or when I send an email to my boss, I just say, I am taking this day for my mental health. I'll be back on this day. Not what we were taught as Black people, which is, girl, you don't lose that good job. Don't you do that. You don't let them white people see you stressed. Don't let them. I am taking this day for my mental health. I'll be back on this day. Here's what I'll do when I get back. Not, can I have this day? I am
taking this day. Right.
I'll be back here. Because if I can't do what I need to do, I ain't no good to you no way. And if I'm so stressed that I can't hardly think, I need the day. I need the day. If you can't do your job, why are you there? So you have to do the first job, which is operating this big piece of machinery, because it's the only one you've got.
That's it. This is the one.
You have the only you that there's ever going to be. You're responsible for it. You get to live in it. It's a privilege, and you should be taking care of it. And that includes your mind. My aunt used to say, it's real hard to lose your mind. Because she was like, you working so hard at it. So she'd be like, it's real hard to lose your mind. You just got to try to keep it.
You got to try to keep it.
You got to try to keep it. And I really work hard at that. And I've made transparency a part of my self-care. If I'm not feeling my best, I will say that. I'm not doing good right now. I need a break.
Yeah.
I need some rest.
Yeah.
Because that is modeling to other people that they have permission to advocate for themselves.
Yes.
Self-care is not just yoga and candles. Self-care is saying no.
Yeah, it's saying no and understanding that there is nothing wrong with you guys, for seeking help, for wanting help, for getting help. It's the best thing that I have ever done for myself. It is a bi-weekly thing for me. I'm on a schedule. It's not like, oh, I get a problem and then I'm going to go to my therapist. No, as you spoke earlier, he's part of the team. He's part of the team every other week that I need to check in with me. How am I doing? And today we had a year anniversary. We talked about growth, all the ways that I grew in this year of therapy with him. And I think I posted something, you guys, where I said my Woman Crush Wednesday is myself and all the growth that I done slayed this year. So hey, you know what I mean? Give yourself the gift of your physical health and your mental health. And as Regina is saying, normalize it. You don't have to ask for it. You state it unapologetically. Give yourself the gift of knowing you deserve to be healthy as a full human being. Full body, mind, and soul, a full authentic person. So you can really walk.
They will, I hate to break it to you, as wonderful and unique as you are, that job will replace you before
amen, amen, and amen.
Before
but you got
the obituary hits the news, they'll be like, and then we hired this person to take on the role.
Exactly.
So the least you can do is take care of you. They might love you. That's not saying that you don't have a job that loves you, cares for you, thinks you're the best thing, but it's a job.
Yes.
And the job as the show must go on, they're not going to run me into the ground. Infertility already tried that.
You said infertility already tried that. You ain't going to let nobody else.
It already tried that. I ain't going. At this point, I'm like, you know, what is important to me is making sure that nobody else feels as alone and broken and discarded and forgotten in any of those areas as I felt. Because in all of those things, the thing about grieving is grief is lonely. It makes other people uncomfortable, so they don't want to be near you. They want to, can you take that over there? Or let me tell you what to do, because then you'll stop grieving and then I won't have to be uncomfortable. And infertility is grief. You're grieving who you thought you were, what you thought you'd be, where you thought you'd be, your relationships with people, your relationships with friends. Because if your best friend just popped out 5, you don't really want to hang with her right now.
I had this conversation with Mama Stu, and if you don't know her yet, Regina, she's probably gonna call you after this or something, because I know you preaching that you've given her all of her. Mama Stu, you getting your life? She's getting her life, okay? So I'm quarantining from them, you guys. But one of the things that I said to Mama Stu one time about my journey is because, like, when my mother was my age, she already had 2 kids, she was married, she already had the career, she was all well down the road. And one of the things that I said to her was, I have to mourn the fact that it hasn't happened yet, and it hasn't happened the way that I wanted it to happen. To your point of grief, I couldn't articulate it the way you just beautifully did at the time, because I didn't know what was going on inside of me, only that I felt like so much grief. And I felt like if I didn't mourn, and this was while I was, going to freeze my eggs, and after I was going to freeze my eggs, and after they were in the freezer, I was still mourning the fact that I had to do it.
Not have to do this in the first place.
That I had to do this in the first place.
I don't get that. There are moments where I still feel grief over. I will never know what it's like to just think, I feel kind of funny. Maybe I'll take a test. That's never going to be my story.
Right.
I'm never going to have a pregnancy that's a surprise or this pleasant. There's so many supporting characters in it. I don't get to just kind of like, oh, that's not how things work for me. And I have to grieve that. I have to grieve the age difference. My mom had me when she was 21, 22. So my mom is my best friend. Judah is 34 years younger than me, So like when I look at things like that, I'm grieving that too. I'm grieving, how long it'll be, how old I'll be. I'm thinking about all of those things. And it's grieving every single day, all day.
Yeah.
And you get caught off guard. That's the other thing. There are triggers.
Yeah.
When you lose someone tangibly that you've actually had and known, there are things that will trigger you, and so you can prepare yourself. Oh, we used to go to this park, so I don't go to that park. When it comes to infertility or wanting of a larger family, you don't know what's going to catch you. You're watching a movie, and you're fine, and then all of a sudden, bam, infertility plot. Where'd that come from? You're watching a TV show, boom, miscarriage. Wait a minute, this was supposed to be my pleasant Thursday evening.
Right.
You don't know when things are going to hit you. They just do. And it's like you're being pummeled all day. I would be at work, and I'm a teen librarian, but I would work in the children's department. And so Halloween, things that you don't even know will trigger you. Well, we have a Halloween parade. So here's 15 toddlers walking past with
and there you go, right.
Or back to school time, and everybody's posting there. Or you get triggered by things that make you angry. So when people start posting how much their kids are getting on their nerves, they start posting things like, well, y'all can come get my kids, they bad anyway. Or when they start saying things about not letting fathers see their kids, all of those things that you don't know are going to catch you. It's like just getting beat up all day long.
Triggers. And you're constantly combating it. And at the same time, you have to feel it, right? Because you're human, and you have to know that it's not going to break you. Now, it might trigger you. It might trigger you, but it's not going to break you. And you have to know how to flip that thing into what you said earlier. I don't see the whole board that God has me on. I just see the place that I'm at right now, because sometimes those things are reminders of how much we want it, and that we are in this walk because God put a desire in our heart, and therefore he promised us he does not fail and he does not lie, and that somehow these things are going to come to pass. But there are triggers along the way. Every day, like you said, there is grief every day, and there is joy, because you have, Judah, you have this testimony of 7 years to the date of that website. You gave birth to your son. And I just have to say, as we wrap it up, you have been more than a blessing. I don't know if there is a word in the English language for what you have been on this IG Live today, but girl, let me tell you, you have blessed me. If y'all don't give her some eggs and some hearts right now, I see I have a question coming in. I'm going to look at it, because the one thing that I do want to leave everybody with, because as a Black woman yourself, as a Black woman myself that is in the world of fertility, one of the things that I want to leave everybody with, and I'll look at the question beforehand, is to your point, we didn't know this was going to happen to us, right? And I also didn't know that I could get my AMH levels checked at any age. I didn't know I could get my FSH levels checked. I didn't know what an ovarian reserve was. I didn't know I had one. I didn't know I was born with as many eggs as I was ever going to have. There's so many women that are still wanting to have children that have no idea about their fertility, and assume, and hopefully rightfully so, but assume that everything is okay over here, but actually have no idea. And one of the reasons I spoke up is because I wish that this was the conversation I heard in my early 30s, so that I would have been more proactive. I would have gotten out of relationships that were dead end zones quicker, because I didn't know I was giving away my best baby making years when I was staying in those relationships. And I want to leave these women with like your 3 tips of what they need to be doing proactively, whether they're married or whether they're single, whatever it may be, to know about their fertility sooner. But I want to check to see if we have a question. Somebody says, any advice for women about to start their IVF cycle? Do you have any advice for women about to start their IVF cycle?
I will say, find what makes you calm, because IVF is stressful, but it also is stressful because there's an inherent fear that we have of it. So I was always afraid of needles. I mean, my mom will tell you she would take me to the doctor when I was like 5, and I'd be like, yeah, this is cute. Are there going to be shots? I don't like shots. I would tell the nurse, I don't like shots. She would be talking to me about something else, and I'd be like, right, but is there a needle in that? So IVF has its own fears, but it's also those things that we kind of take into it. So I had to decide what was going to make me calm. So that included not letting everybody in on what was going on, because I didn't need 50 questions.
Say that and again. Everybody don't need to know your story. I have said this so many times. Your fertility story is yours. What you're going to do with your IVF cycle is your business. Only let in the people that you want to, that you trust, that will speak power into your life. What I do with my eggs is my business. Don't tell me what I should do. So please.
And don't ask me.
And don't ask me. Yes, keep going. Okay, so what?
If you want to ask me, don't ask me how I'm doing. Yes. And I'll tell you if that includes something about that.
Right,
but
so be
sometimes
choosy.
I don't want to talk about this.
Right.
I don't want this to be my whole life.
Right.
But I had to decide what was my calm. So for me, we would have a show to watch. I had my iPad and I would watch, I think it was Parks and Rec maybe, or The Office, and or Bob's Burgers. And I would have that to watch, and we would have a countdown, and I would tell them do the countdown quiet because I can't listen to that, and then I'm going to be nervous. And then after every shot, I'd have a treat. So it might be a Kit Kat, it might be a scoop of ice cream, something that said, you did it, girl, look at you. And I would also have, for every appointment, things like that I needed to just kind of, after every appointment, go to Target. After every appointment, go to Michael's. Something that where going doesn't have such a negative feeling, but it has a positive on the upswing. So that was those are the things that I really, really needed, was a routine that would make this not feel so daunting and terrifying. Because it is.
Yeah.
You got to build your pieces into it. So because this is a part of your experience.
Yeah.
We don't think about it because we're so focused on what happens after.
Yeah.
But this if it's successful or not, this is a part of your journey to your child.
Yes.
So you want to take this in and think about it in a way of other people who do get those oops and surprise pregnancies. They don't know when they got pregnant. They don't know the moment. You have the beauty of knowing every single piece of that little person's life that you're going to have. So you got to look at it like that. Like, I get something special. I get the behind the scenes footage. Like, whatever you got to tell yourself to make you feel like this is actually a special and good thing.
Yeah.
And not, I'm so angry. Because that is, you start to feel angry. I'm mad I even had to do this part. Other people don't have to do this. Like, you get real upset.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I get to know every single embryo that whatever you have to do.
All of it is part of your journey, you guys. Your anger, your grief. Somebody just said, I lost my embryos in my divorce and I missed them. I just realized that I am grieving the loss of 7 children. We love you, sis. And we grieve with you, and we understand, like, Regina understands, we understand. And you have a right to your grief, and you have a right to your process, and get yourself the help that you need, and know that you are normal in this space and all of those things. And there's joy on the other side. And even that is a part of her story. Even that is a part of the mountain that she will climb. So just keep climbing. And we love you. And so I just want to leave one tip, and then Regina, you leave one. I'm just going to say to the women out there that have not tried to get pregnant yet, get your AMH levels, which is your anti-Müllerian hormone levels, checked to find out about your ovarian reserve. I do not advocate necessarily for people to freeze their eggs or do all of that, because that's a personal decision. It's a physical decision. It's a financial decision. Like I said earlier, Regina and I are not doctors. We are women that have been through things. And so we are speaking from our personal experience. And what I will say is, had I known earlier, I would have made different choices. And I'm very glad that I froze my eggs. But what I advocate for is for women to go get tested with their ovarian reserve, for men to get semen analysis tested, so that you can plan ahead in a place of power and not panic. That is my goal for you. So Regina, do you have any last tips before we leave you and thank you 1,000 more times?
There's so many things. That the one thing that I try to remind everyone is infertility is bigger than babies. Just keep that when you're struggling with this and you're trying to figure out what to do. This is bigger than the baby. This is you. This is a part of you. And you are bigger than your ability to parent, your desire to parent, your plans to parent. You're bigger than that. You were enough when you were made. That's it. That's all. All these other parts are accessories and side dishes. You're the entree. And so you can't lose sight of that just because things aren't working as fast or the way, or those things are going to hurt. Those things are going to be just hard to deal with. But it's so important that you don't lose yourself in the middle of all of this, because even if you become that parent, you want to be you. You want to be you. You want to be to that child however they come. Because Black people do adopt. Black people have always adopted. Black people have always been foster parents. We'll take in a cousin, a sister. We'll do any of those things.
It's who
We've
we are.
always been in all of these different avenues towards parenting. So however being a parent comes to you, you want to take into that the beauty of yourself. So you can't lose yourself. And babies don't stay babies. They're going to grow up and they want to have the benefit of having a whole and authentic you. So just don't lose yourself in this, because it tries to steal so much from us. But snatch your stuff back.
Snatch your, and that is listen. If that ain't the punchline, that's snatch yourself back. I truly can't thank you enough. We're friends, okay? Just so you know.
It's an interview.
But I can't thank you enough for answering the call to come on Warrior Wednesdays Live, for being here, being so transparent, so open about everything from all of your experience, from the adoption and fostering to the grief to the baby coming to the mental health aspect. You have truly blessed so many people with this. Please continue to do the work that you do. If you ever need me, you know I got your back. And I'm going to post this for everybody. Now, Regina, I'm going to need you to come back eventually to Warrior Wednesdays and talk some more, because you just gave us our life. And this has been the best Christmas present for me. You helped me today. You blessed me today. So God bless you, your husband, your son. I can't wait for more stories from you, because you are just super amazing. So you guys, give her claps, give her eggs, give her hearts. Let her know thank you. We bless you, we honor you, and we thank you, Warrior. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
Absolutely. You guys go follow Regina on Broken Brown Egg on Instagram, right? At Broken Brown Egg. And I need you to log on to the brokenbrownegg.com, to her site. Follow her right now. Share her message. Send her page to a friend. People need to know her, and they need to hear more about her. So I'm going to post this right now. Regina, I thank you. I thank you, sis.
Thank you for having me, Kellee. It was beautiful to spend time with you.
Beautiful time. All right. Love to the family. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Bye, love. Oh, my goodness.
Bye.
Bye, baby. You guys, that was so amazing. That was so amazing. I'm about to post it. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for joining Warrior Wednesday. I will continue to do it here from Mama Stu's home, as you can see. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I need you to send this to friends and family members that need to hear this message. One thing that I always say is leave no egg behind. So leave no egg behind. Go follow Regina at Broken Brown Egg, and check out her site at thebrokenbrownegg.com. I love you, Warriors, and I will see you next Wednesday. God bless. Mwah. Take care.